the bell rang, and now the whole planet is shifting and shaking. So dive in. Tell us
Well,
about.
everybody's taking everything dark. It's like you said last night. Corporations are going dark with their finances. Harvard went dark.
Right.
Germany just announced that it's going to do the same thing, and we're going to get back into that later on when we talk about some geopolitics and Brexit and so on. Yeah, but everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing it.
Well, when the mother lode, because the U.S. federal credit is the 800-pound gorilla, if they go dark, they're dramatically lowering their transaction costs.
Right.
So if you have to launder money through the Clinton Foundation and Epstein and all those kinds of operations, those are very expensive, very time consuming, etc. If you're a nation state and the US can just do whatever they want whenever they want privately under complete secrecy, you can't afford to take the time to do those
Well, yeah, you said last night that FASB was the death warrant for Jeffrey Epstein.
right.
And if you look at it, if you look at the whole Epstein thing and connect all the dots there, I think you're absolutely right. What they're doing is they're rolling up these networks that they no longer need because number one, they're high risk. You've got people like Epstein that are essentially narcissists that are ego driven, and that introduces risk into your operation. You've got high overhead. That's the other thing. You're actually having to run people and pay people and buy them off and blackmail and all of that. And I think what's crucial here is something that has been brought out by various researchers, and that is that Epstein's connections with the Maxwells, particularly the two sisters, that were involved since, I think, the late 1980s with developing information technologies,
That's a
database.
Promise Software story. Maxwell was the big
Right,
distributor
right.
on Promise Software.
Yes, right, exactly. We're looking, I think, at Promise, version 4.0.
Right.
So they've perfected the means of inventory control, quite bluntly, and I hate to use those words, but if you're
That's
running,
exactly it.
that's exactly what they've done. And you warned about this, I think, a couple of years ago when we were talking about slavery in one
Right.
of the quarterly reports, that the problem was perfecting the capital. In other words, keeping your inventory, so to speak, on the plantation. Well, if you've got RFD chips implanted in people, and you've got a software package that can track people through several different databases, like Promise could, you don't need the Epsteins anymore. You don't need these networks of the Clintons and so on and so forth. You've now basically turned over this whole slavery pedophilia network to the technocrats.
Right.
So, it's time to roll it up, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're rolling up all of these analog components
Right.
in their
So when
networks.
I said a couple of years ago the financial coup is over. Now they're going to consolidate
Right.
and re-engineer, and all these players who think they're important,
Yeah, they're getting swept aside.
they're just getting swept aside.